So why is language access important?
That's a great question. Long Beach is the most diverse city in the nation with so many different languages that are spoken as primary languages by residents other than English. And right now we don't have a policy in the city to ensure that the city's programs, services, and meetings are accessible to people who don't speak English as their primary language. About 2 years ago in the budget process, the city cut money for interpretation and translation services at public meetings for those who didn't speak English. And we found out about that, we realized that not only did we need to fix that problem, but we needed to work with the community to get the city to adopt a policy to ensure that all meetings, services, and programs were accessible to people who don't speak English as their primary language.
And what do you say to people that think that it's too expensive or that people should just learn English?
Yeah, sure. A couple of responses to that. I mean, first, there are federal and state mandates that require that the city be accessible to those who don't speak English. Because the city receives federal funds, it has to comply with civil rights and access in terms of language. Secondly, there are cost-effective ways to do this, and we can certainly work with the city to do that. And third, I think we really need to think about what kind of a city do we want to be. Do we want a huge majority of our residents to not be able to access the city? And I don't think anybody would say yes to that.
So what's the status of language access right now?
So last November, we got a unanimous motion from the City Council that staff should work with community groups, many of whom are here this evening, to help draft a language access policy and go back to the City Council. And since we are all community groups that listen to the community, one of the first steps for us in providing our input to the city was to hold this community meeting tonight to collect that input. Once we collect the input, data, and testimonies from tonight, we'll compile that with a best practices document and submit that to the city as our comments on the policy. After that, we'll be meeting with city staff and council members After that, we'll be meeting with city staff and council members to work on the adoption of the policy and hopefully have it adopted by the end of this year.